Recently, Donald Trump was speaking at an event in New Hampshire known as the No Labels event. And during that entire situation, he was approached by a young person who was very concerned about his treatment of women. That woman is an 18-year-old by the name of Lauren Batchelder. And listen to the question that she asked him.
So maybe I'm wrong, maybe you can prove me wrong, but I don't think that you're a friend to women.
I knew I shouldn't have picked her. I knew I shouldn't have picked her. All right.
I want to get paid the same as a man, and I think you understand that. So if you become president, will a woman make the same as a man, and do I get to choose what I do with my body?
You're going to make the same if you do as good a job. You're going to make the same if you do as good a job, and I happen to be pro-life. Okay? I'm pro-life.
All right. When I first heard that response, I actually thought it was pretty good for Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump gets very combative and he gets very defensive because he doesn't really have policy positions. He flip-flops based on what he thinks is going to help him in that moment. I don't think he's serious about the presidency. And so I thought he was going to like tear her apart in a childish way. I think he handled it okay for Donald Trump. However, I love that 18-year-old because she's like, I don't think you're a friend to woman. Okay? Now, I love her. I think she asked the right questions, but she was very sassy, and that was awesome.
So that was a lot of fun for everybody. And then it got to be more fun as the fallout from it continued because it turns out she's a spy. Okay.
Not really.
Okay, we'll explain. We'll explain.
Yeah.
But I actually think that she's enormously misguided, even though she took on Trump.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is that all about? Well, it turns out that she's accused of being a plant. Was she? Why don't you tell us about that, Anna?
Well, it turns out that she has volunteered on Jeb Bush's campaign.
Drama.
She's an unpaid intern. However, the Jeb campaign claims that they are not only paying her, they also did not warrant that question. Okay, so she got caught. It turns out that she has a LinkedIn account, and the LinkedIn account shows that she's a campaign intern for Jeb Bush. And then you also find out more information. It turns out that one of the people on Trump's camp did a little more investigation and tweeted about this. He says, if you watch No Labels conference in New Hampshire today, note the Jeb plant. Jeb is desperate. Okay. And then there was more. Apparently, Lauren had tweeted about how much she loves Jeb. She said, I love you, Jeb. I'm sorry you have to be next to Trump. That was a comment from September 16th. And Daniel Scavino Jr. said, Jeb loves you too, Lauren Rose. Next time you're on a mission, remember the power of social media. Hashtag Jeb's intern plant.
So the Trump people are ecstatic about this because they're like, yo, we got him, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Jeb plant. We got you. We went on Twitter. We went on Twitter and LinkedIn. Okay. Now, the Jeb folks say, no, she worked as an intern for us, obviously, because that's a fact. Although a Republican acknowledging a fact is never a given, right? But we didn't send her to ask that question. Do I believe them? Absolutely. Because she asked a question that was basically pro-choice, right? Is a woman going to get to do whatever she wants with her body? Jeb Bush isn't pro-choice.
I know.
Right?
And he also has no interest in talking about, you know, the wage gap between men and women.
Yeah, she has no idea what she's doing. First of all, she's in the wrong party, right? If she loves Jeb, well, Jeb doesn't have good answers to your question either. Like, I hate to break it to you. And so there's no way the Jeb Bush campaign sends a plant to ask a pro-choice question.
Right. Now, Jeb's campaign not only disagreed with the question and tried to back away from her, they really kind of screwed her over in the end. And it shows you how weak Jeb really is. Because Trump, love him or hate him, and believe me, I hate him, he's a strong guy, right? Yeah. He's unapologetic, he's defiant, and that resonates with some Republican voters. Jeb, on the other hand, is like, oh, no, not a plan. Please, I didn't put her up to this, right? Like, I'll give you some examples. First of all, Donald Trump had some choice words for this young woman. She said, the arrogant young woman who questioned me in such a nasty fashion at No Labels yesterday was a Jeb staffer. How can he beat Russia and China?
No, that's awesome.
What?
I mean, okay, this is such classic Trump there. Okay, so first of all, it's funny how prickly the bullies are, right? He bullies everybody, calls people rapists, criminals, etc. And you ask him, hey, can women get equal pay for the same job? And he's like, arrogant woman, how dare you? By the way, kind of proving her point, right? This arrogant young woman daring to question a man like me, right? And then he's so touchy, he's so touchy. He offends everybody under the moon. But you just, prick him a little bit. He's like, how dare you, right? And then the follow-up, though, is hilarious. Of course, all in caps, because he has to scream everything, right? What does this intern have anything to do with beating Russia and China? Like, I beat this 18-year-old intern that Jeb sent, which he didn't. I mean, he had a fine answer, but what does it mean? He didn't beat it. What is that? But that means I can beat Russia and China, and Jeb can't. No, it means no such thing.
Yeah, and what's your plan for beating Russia and China? He just makes these vague statements, but he doesn't have a plan of attack. Okay, finally, I have to give you the comments from Jeb's camp and how afraid they are to associate themselves with this 18-year-old. So Tim Miller, who works on the Jeb campaign, said that she's a volunteer supporter, don't agree with her question, but boy, is Trump sensitive when challenged by women. Okay, that's fine. But here's another one. For what it's worth, Lauren is not a Jeb staffer, but the Jeb staff is amused by how sensitive Donald is to being challenged by women. And then, yeah, so those are the two main tweets that they put out, but it's like they're so quick to reject her. Like, yeah, she's a staffer, she's a supporter. Like, calm down. You don't have to reject her so much,
Yeah. And, so they make the second point they make is the same one we make. No problem with that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't us. I'm so sorry. Don't hit me, Donald. And isn't anybody else amused by the constant references to the Jeb staff?
Yeah.
Okay, the Jeb staff says this, exclamation point.
Yeah, and Jeb is such a strange name to begin with. So Jeb staff is a strange combination. It's incredible how, let's say she was a plant, right? And Donald Trump is outraged that it was a plant. Really, are you trying to make the claim that you're the classier candidate that doesn't do classless things like, I don't know, attack entire groups of people by calling them rapists and murderers? Yeah. Like, you're the classless piece of shit, right? So if Jeb did plant her there, first of all, I guess that's a low blow, but she's still asking a really interesting question that should be posed to you. And if you can't handle answering a question like that, well, then you can't handle something as complicated as dominating China and Russia.